bother me. It's what she's doing with our children, talking behind my back.
The courtroom was icy, not just from the air conditioner or the pale walls, but from the weight of silence that pressed down on everyone like a suffocating fog. It wasn't just quiet, it was charged, dangerous, like the kind of silence that comes before a storm. At the center of that suffocating tension stood Robyn Brown, trembling. Gone was the polished, composed woman viewers had seen for years. She looked shattered. Her shoulders slumped, her eyes ringed with mascara that had smeared into black stains. Her hands gripping a tissue so tightly it looked ready to rip in half. Across the room, Kody Brown sat like stone, jaw locked, refusing to even glance her way. Next to him, the shock of the day, another woman, the rumored fifth wife. Her presence, turning whispers into full-blown outrage. The moment Robyn moved toward the witness stand, the entire courtroom leaned forward. This wasn't just another hearing. This was a reckoning. The bailiff instructed her to raise her right hand, her trembling fingers barely steady as she swore, her oath to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The words came out shaky, but they filled the room with a gravity no one could deny. And then came the silence. Just a few seconds, but long enough for years of hidden wounds to rise to the surface, long enough for secrets to crawl into the open. The judge, stern and unyielding, finally broke it. Mrs. Brown, is there anything you'd like to say before we begin questioning? Robyn lifted her gaze, first to the floor, then to Kody, and her composure shattered like glass. "I loved you," she whispered. The words cracked so hard even the court reporter faltered. "I believed every promise you made. I stood by you. When Christine left, when Janelle walked away, when Mary was cast aside, I defended you. And now? Now I'm the fool, watching you parade around with a woman you've been hiding for months." Her attorney slid a folder across to the judge. Inside, evidence. Screenshots of Venmo payments, receipts from late-night hotel bookings, and worst of all, intimate text messages between Kody and his secret wife. Sweet nothings, promises of forever, even strategies for how they deal with the inevitable fallout once the other wives discovered the truth. Gasps rippled across the courtroom. Kody's lawyer leapt to his feet, objecting, claiming the texts were taken out of context, but the judge raised a hand. This court is here to uncover truth, and betrayal speaks for itself. Robyn's voice shook as she continued, tears streaming. "I gave this man everything. I let him adopt my children. I gave up my own dreams to be the woman he said he needed, and all along he was planning this with her. Was I just a placeholder, Kody? Something to get you through until someone younger, prettier came along? Did I ever matter to you at all?" Kody's face was a mask, unblinking, unfeeling. The silence that followed was suffocating, until a sudden shift turned the entire room upside down. From the back, Mary Brown rose to her feet. Beside her, Christine. Their faces were stern, their eyes unwavering, and together they walked forward, sitting directly behind Robyn's lawyer. It was a shocking display of solidarity, and the effect was seismic. For the first time, Kody's mask cracked. His eyes darted between them, disbelief plain on his face. He had counted on them never standing with Robyn, but they did. Not because their pain was erased, but because they recognized hers. This was no longer about sisterhood. This was about justice. Robyn steadied herself, her voice trembling but sharp as a blade. "I didn't discover this from him. I discovered it from my daughter. She showed me a TikTok of this woman, his so-called new wife, dancing in my living room, my home, laughing, spinning, wearing Kody's hoodie, the one he claimed he lost on a business trip. She was surrounded by home decor I had picked for us." A gasp rolled through the courtroom again. Robyn held up her phone. "That's the video. I gave it to my lawyer the next day." The judge ordered it entered into evidence, and the screen showed the fifth wife, smiling as though she already owned it all. Kody dropped his head into his hands, massaging his temples. For the first time, he looked cornered. Kody's attorney tried to pivot. "Mrs. Brown, would you say your emotions are coloring your interpretation of recent events?" Robyn's eyes snapped back. "Would you be calm if your husband of 10 years had a second family?" The lawyer stuttered, scrambling. Do you have proof that Mr. Brown was financially or emotionally supporting this woman before separating from you? Robyn's words sliced through. He never separated from me. He just stopped coming home. Does emotional abandonment count? Because if it does, I've got years of evidence. The judge's face hardened. I'll determine what qualifies. Please continue, Mrs. Brown. Robyn's chest rose and fell sharply, and then the last bit of armor fell away. She wept openly. I'm not perfect, she cried. I stayed when others left because I believed I was the last one holding this family together. I thought if I stayed, we could survive. But the truth is, we were unraveling one by one, and I was just the last thread to break. She looked at Mary and Christine, her voice cracking. I thought I was holding on for all of us, but I was just the last to fall. The judge studied her, then glanced at Kody, then at the woman at his side. The room was so still you could hear the clock ticking and the scrape of a chair as someone shifted. Robyn's tears fell onto the wood of the stand, and finally the judge's voice cut through. We'll take a short recess, then we'll hear Mr. Brown's testimony. The gavel struck like a gunshot, echoing through every heart in the room. The first strike had landed, and it came from the one person Kody thought would never turn on him, Robyn Brown. When the court reconvened, the energy had shifted. People sat down, but no one was the same. Robyn's words lingered in the air, her breakdown carved into memory. Now it was Kody's turn. He moved to the stand with deliberate steps, face unreadable, cold. He raised his hand, swore his oath, without inflection, and sat with precision, his gray suit chosen to make him look somber, victimized, while carrying the blade that had cut so many. The judge motioned for him to begin. Kody didn't look at Robyn. He didn't acknowledge Mary or Christine. His eyes found only one person, the fifth wife, sitting at the back, arms folded, eyes burning with loyalty. And then he spoke, voice calm, steady. I never meant to hurt anyone, but I won't be crucified for living the life the world has twisted from the beginning. The judge's voice cut sharp. Mr. Brown, this is not about lifestyle. This is about behavior. Stick to the facts. Kody nodded once. The fact is, he said, my marriage with Robyn has not been a marriage in any real way for a long time. We were under the same roof, yes, but we were not husband and wife. We were parents. We were business partners. We were public figures trying to hold up a brand. Gasps rippled. Robyn bowed her head, tears rolling again. Christine turned, her face away.
That is confusing for me is that I don't see the deal breakers between Kody and Christine. But I don't mean to cast judgment.
Mary slowly shook her head, her voice heavy with years of quiet endurance. Yes, she admitted firmly. I met someone new, someone who gave me peace, someone who wasn't tangled in the endless blame games, the emotional storms, or the constant guilt trips that shadowed our home. Before she could continue, the judge cut in, her tone sharp. So you're suggesting that because you were unhappy, your actions were justified? Kody leaned forward, his shrug almost defiant. I'm saying, I'm human. His words carried no softness, only a cutting edge. Then, as if pleading for sympathy yet refusing to bend, Kody's tone turned cold. I've been cast as the villain in every story. The bad husband, the cruel father, the manipulator. But has anyone ever asked what it was like to carry this family on my shoulders? To manage 4, now 5, different women with their demands, moods, meltdowns, and all under public scrutiny? The judge didn't blink. You chose that life, Mr. Brown. Kody nodded slowly. I did. But that doesn't mean I deserve to be punished for every imperfection in it. His eyes flicked at Robyn for the first time. I'm sorry she found out the way she did. That was never my intention. But the truth is, Robyn stopped being my wife a long time ago. I can't keep living a lie just for appearances. Robyn's head lifted, her face streaked with tears, her voice cracking like glass. But I was still pretending, Kody. I was still trying. The judge leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Mr. Brown, you're charged with financial misrepresentation. Did you divert joint funds to finance this relationship without informing your wife? Kody didn't flinch. I paid for hotel rooms and dinners, yes, but those were my personal expenses. The judge tapped her pen. Bank statements tell a different story. We'll revisit that with your accountant. Cross-examination began. Robyn's lawyer walked forward slowly, voice calm but razor-sharp. Mr. Brown, when did this relationship start? Kody groaned. About a year ago. The lawyer repeated louder. A year ago. And when did Robyn discover it? 6 weeks ago. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. The timeline exposed this wasn't a fleeting mistake. It was a year-long deception. How often did you sleep under the same roof as Robyn during that time? The lawyer pressed. Kody hesitated. Once every few weeks. Did she know where you were? I told her I was traveling. So you lied? I didn't tell her the whole truth, Kody muttered. The lawyer leaned closer. Which means you lied. Kody shifted, his voice cracking for the first time. I thought I was protecting her from humiliation. Objection, Kody's attorney barked. Overruled, the judge snapped. The lawyer's next blow hit harder. Mr. Brown, did you or did you not tell your 5th wife you plan to divorce Robyn after season 20 wrapped filming? Silence. The courtroom froze. Kody's face was stiff. His attorney tried to interject, but the judge's glare forced Kody to answer. Finally, through clenched teeth, he admitted, yes. Robyn gasped and buried her face in her hands. The room erupted in whispers, forcing the judge to slam her gavel. Christine leaned toward Mary, whispering, so it was always about the cameras. He was just waiting for the season to end. Mary said nothing. Her eyes never left Kody, their old warmth replaced by burning contempt. Now visibly worn, Kody slumped back, loosening his tie like a man cornered. I did what I had to do, he muttered. No one understands the weight I carried trying to keep this family intact. Robyn's lawyer shot back, and yet it was you who shattered it in the end. Silence fell like a curtain. The judge leaned in. If Robyn hadn't uncovered your secret, would you have told her? Kody stared blankly, his paws damning. When the time was right. The judge's tone cut through the air. And when would that be, Mr. Brown, after filming stopped? After the checks cleared? After the cameras were gone? Kody's silence was louder than any confession. Judge shifted her papers and declared, this court will now hear from Mrs. Christine Brown and Mrs. Mary Brown. Their testimonies will shed light on the depth of betrayal, the financial misconduct, and the emotional devastation endured. The gavel cracked against the block, and with it, Kody's carefully built image crumbled, not just in court, but in the eyes of everyone watching. As the air hung heavy, all eyes turned to the back of the courtroom. Christine and Mary, once broken by Kody's manipulation, now sat tall, united, and ready to speak, not as bitter exes, but as witnesses determined to expose the truth. The bailiff called Christine Brown to the stand. She rose with quiet strength, her step steady, her oath clear. I'm not here for revenge, Christine said firmly. I'm here because I lived through the same manipulation Robyn is living through now. And if this court doesn't intervene, she won't survive it either. Robyn, still trembling, nodded faintly. Christine's voice hardened. Kody used silence as a weapon. When things went wrong, he disappeared. He'd say, I need space. Or you're being dramatic. But what he was really doing was abandoning us, leaving us in fear and confusion and making us believe it was our fault. She pulled out a page, her hand steady. This is a journal entry from 2018. Kody told me then that he was considering a legal reset. His words, not just with me or Mary, but with everyone except Robyn. That's when he began cutting us away one by one. Mary first, then me. He kept Janelle close because she was loyal. He kept Robyn because she was devoted. But even she, especially she, was just a pawn for his ego. Gasps rippled through the courtroom again. Christine looked directly at the judge. One of the most chilling things I ever heard Kody say was during a fight off camera between Robyn and me. He smirked and said, "Let the wives fight. It keeps the heat off me." That's when I realized he never wanted unity. He wanted chaos he could control. The room fell silent as Christine stepped down, but it was Mary's testimony that would deliver the courtroom's biggest bombshell. Once seen as the wife who clung too long, Mary now walked to the stand with steady steps and clear eyes, a woman finally free of her chains. She raised her hand, swore her oath, and dropped a revelation that made the entire courtroom erupt. "I found a prenup," Mary declared. Gasps filled the chamber. The judge leaned forward. "A prenup?" "Yes," Mary continued, her voice steady. "In 2014, right after I divorced Kody so he could marry Robyn, I was sorting through papers. There it was, a prenup. Not between me and Kody, between Kody and Robyn, signed 2 weeks before our divorce was finalized." The room exploded, with whispers. Robyn's face drained of color. Kody shifted uneasily. Mary continued, her voice sharper now. "The agreement promised Robyn certain assets, land, royalties, and a secret savings account. When I confronted Kody, he brushed it, off as a draft, but it was real. And years later, he had another woman sign another prenup just like that." Kody slammed his fist on the table. "That's confidential." The judge's gavel cracked down. "Mr. Brown, you will not raise your voice in my courtroom." Robyn sat frozen, her head slowly shaking as if the truth was too much to absorb. From the gallery, Christine whispered, "We weren't wives. We were contracts." Mary's voice broke as she finished. "I thought I was sacrificing for love. I thought I was building our future. But Kody wasn't building a family. He was building his escape, document by document, lie by lie." The judge jotted notes, then looked up. "Anything more you'd like to add, Mrs. Brown?" Mary looked directly at Kody, her eyes sharp. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm awake, and I want this court to wake up too." As Mary stepped down, the judge recessed the court but left Kody with a warning. "The testimonies of your ex-wives reveal a pattern of deception, manipulation, and abuse. This court will not proceed further until your financial records are subpoenaed and examined. In full." Kody tried to protest, but his lawyer restrained him. The gavel slammed and the courtroom shifted. Tears, revelations, betrayals, it had all poured out. But now came something colder, sharper. The bailiff called the next witness, and every head turned. From the back of the courtroom, she emerged, Kody's fifth wife. Her chin high, her stride unwavering, her eyes like stone. No tears, no trembling. Just quiet, terrifying composure. Just the slightest smirk played at the corner of her lips, as if the entire courtroom was already hers to command. Robyn, seated beside her attorney, instinctively recoiled at the sight. Christine whispered, "She's proud of it." And Mary simply nodded with heavy certainty. She's here to win. The fifth wife made her entrance like a calculated storm, her fitted blood-red blazer striking like a warning flare. Every step of her heels echoed with icy precision as she approached the stand. She took her oath flawlessly, then lingered on. Her name, pronouncing each syllable like a brand she wanted etched into memory. Cameras captured every second. She was performing, and she knew it. When asked, she answered without hesitation. "Yes, I am with Mr. Brown. No, not legally married. Spiritually, yes. Emotionally, more than any of them ever were." Gasps rippled. Robyn's body jolted as if struck. Objection. Sustained. But the damage was irreversible. She went on. Smoothly. They had met at a real estate convention in Scottsdale 2 years earlier. Kody had been charming, open, but broken. He told her he was trapped, that his marriage to Robyn was only a partnership for the cameras. Robyn's hands flew to her face. When asked if she knew about the others, she said yes, but Kody had painted them as bitter enemies, women who had betrayed him. Only Robyn, he said, had stayed loyal. Now that loyalty shattered in real time. When pressed further, she admitted Kody had already promised her property, Coyote Pass land, royalties, even legal rights once he separated himself from the others. Her lawyer had the signed papers. The judge's piercing glare shifted to Kody. He hesitated, then crumbled. Yes, the word detonated. Christine shouted from the gallery, furious. Robyn stood trembling, screaming through tears. You sat at my table. You laughed with my children. And you were replacing me all along. The fifth wife didn't flinch. He was gone already. You just refused to see it. The courtroom shook with Robyn's sobs. The judge asked if she felt remorse. No, she declared with chilling ease. I gave him clarity, he chose me. Christine turned away in disgust. Mary muttered, She isn't a wife, she's a storm. The judge reprimanded her arrogance but warned her clearly. Verbal promises don't make ownership. Then let it go to trial, she smirked, her eyes locking on Robyn one last time. That quiet smirk was her victory lap, the unspoken taunt. I've already won. The gavel fell. Session adjourned. Outside, the gallery buzzed, media swarmed, and whispers flew online. Inside, devastation spread like wildfire. Robyn slumped. Christine wrapped an arm around her. Mary stayed silent. Kody left in shadows, mute, exposed. His carefully built empire was crumbling in public view. The next morning, the judge returned with finality in her eyes and files in hand. Everyone rose. No one breathed. This was the verdict that would rewrite the Brown legacy. She recapped the testimonies, the lies, the forged promises. Then she struck hard. Effective immediately, all Coyote Pass assets were frozen pending forensic accounting. Royalties would be redistributed, back pay granted to Christine and Mary for years of deception. A restraining order was placed against transferring any property to the fifth wife until her agreements were verified. For the first time, her smirk faltered. And then, dignity returned to Robyn. The judge granted her temporary conservatorship of joint accounts and custody rights. Robyn broke down, not in despair, but in relief. I never wanted his money, she whispered. Just the truth. Kody finally rose, fragile, broken, muttering excuses about family unity. Christine stood tall, fiery. You didn't protect us, Kody. You held us hostage. The court closed with one last thunderous strike of the gavel. Kody faced not just humiliation, but looming investigations of fraud and financial betrayal. His kingdom had been dismantled not by rivals, not by tabloids, but by the unrelenting weight of truth. Christine walked out first, silent, but free. Mary followed, armed with papers proving her sacrifice mattered. Robyn emerged with her lawyer, her tears replaced by strength. The fifth wife had already slipped away. And Kody? He remained inside, alone in the chair where he once thought he ruled. The cameras didn't capture a king that day. They captured a fallen man, dethroned by the very women he underestimated.